Welcome to the Q Review, episode 19, brought to you by Barely's House of Blues and Ribs in downtown Halifax, your one-stop shop for everything Quebec Major Junior Hockey League and the unofficial podcast of the QMJHL. On the other screen is my co-host Theo once again in a virtual edition of the Q Review. What is up, Theo?
What is up, Chris? I'm doing well in this I'm sorry for this disgusting-looking grandma's, I don't even know what it is.
I like it. It adds character.
But yeah, it's
Santa mug up there.
Let's see. I don't even know it. Just a bunch of old crap. But yeah, new setup. Not for long, I hope. But yeah, don't get used to it, folks. So yeah, we're back though, baby.
Had some camera errors and big snowstorm in Halifax, so no shot. I was taking the trip up to the studio.
No, studio's missing us though.
Fingers crossed for no school tomorrow, so we will see. You don't have school anyways, but
yeah, don't have to worry about that.
What was going on last week? Last couple of weeks, we haven't had an episode in a little bit.
Yeah, the folks have been missing us. Heard everybody's been wanting an episode. Sorry on that part, folks, but no, we're back. All my buddies had the reading week, so like buddies had Acadia and X, and got to see them. Went downtown and got a few buzzed up downtown, and now we're back though. What about you?
I made a trip to Moncton to watch the Mooseheads, as you guys saw in our story. Q Review on the road for the first time.
Chris, you're froze, bud.
I'm froze?
Yeah, you're froze for me. I don't know for the folks watching. Oh, now you're back. You're back, baby.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I got you.
Should we just restart?
No, it's okay.
So head to Moncton. Me and a couple buddies from work had Arby's for the first time. I've had it before, but not, it's been a while. I'm trying to remember what I got so I can give you guys a decent description. I had the...
He's trying to find it.
I am. I'm on the menu right now. Let's see here. Beef.
Just beef.
I got the Montreal smoked meat Reuben.
Oh.
Basically, it was just roast beef with a little bit of sauerkraut on it. Not too much to overpower, but just a little bit to kind of tingle the tongue. Pretty good stuff. The only thing I would change is the bun, or the bread, I guess, was not toasted or anything. It was just a sandwich with bread taken right out of the bread bag.
You got to get it toasted, man. That's ridiculous.
Well, even McDonald's, it's not toasted that much, but like it's enough to, be warm.
If you don't get it toasted, then you're an automatic psychopath.
Arby's, my sandwich, I would say it was a solid 8. The meat was tender. The only thing I would change is that bread.
I could have made it to a 10.
They also had this weird thing called horsey sauce, which is like horseradish.
Oh, I don't fuck with horseradish.
Tasted awful. I tried it, but it was not good.
My dad likes it.
So yeah, a little more about the game. We went, had some pretty good seats right in the Moncton end. So we saw Halifax score quite a bit. 11-3 final, if you guys were paying attention to the stories. Yeah, wild game.
It's crazy.
They left Vincent Filion in for 10 goals, which was brutal. Fans were not happy. Although they gave him a nice ovation. The Moncton fans are good people. They gave Filion an ovation, which I thought was nice. I honestly thought he quit on the spot because he wasn't on the bench for probably 10 minutes after he got pulled.
Yeah.
So I thought he pulled the coach kind of pulled a Patrick Waugh, as people were saying on Twitter, where if people remember, Patrick Waugh got pulled after 10 goals and then didn't play another game for Montreal. So I honestly thought that was happening. But yeah, no, it was a fun game though. Cheap drinks. Drinks were only $7.25 each. I got 2 doubles for $30.
Yeah, you did.
So that's a pretty good deal compared to Halifax. So I'll take that any day.
What's Halifax drinks like? How much are those? I forget.
A beer's $10.25.
Jesus. About the game though, people were loving your story when you said at the Wildcats podcast, are you still here? Did that? What are your thoughts on? Did they go back at you or what? Were they mad
No,
about?
they just. I mean, they didn't really have much to say. Fair enough. I have nothing against those guys. It was just kind of like, they interact with our content, so just kind of wanted to get a little, do stuff for the media attention. But no, they have great stuff. I listen to their stuff pretty well every week. Shout out Wildcast Podcast for being such good sports, especially during that game. But yeah, it was messy. I think at one point there was 7 goals on 9 shots, I think it was. And just Jordan Dumais was a couple points behind Bedard for the CHL lead, and they took over. Now currently has, I believe, 107. I'll check that. But you watched a bit of that game, didn't you?
It was nuts. It was just all 4 lines actually just produced, and of course Dumais, but you got to give it to the goalie, as you mentioned. Poor guy. I would have pulled the Padua, as you were mentioned. I would have been sick and tired of it, but no, that's fair.
Well, the next game they had to play at 2:00 in Halifax, which I get. You don't want to put Steinman in there to, he plays and
to get injured or something.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand what they did. It ended up Steinman went in for that game in Halifax like the next day, but then Filion went back in. He had a good bounce back, 13 saves on 14 shots. So Steinman currently injured, so we'll see where that goes. Jordan Dumais now has 109 points, which is 5 behind Connor Bedard. So Bedard must have lit it up last week. I wanted to give a couple shout outs. Isaac Beliveau signed his entry-level deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins, playing for Gatineau right now on that hot Gatineau team, 13 wins in a row.
How are you?
We also had Alex Doucette of the Mooseheads sign one with the Red Wings. So both those guys, 20-year-olds, they won't be back next year. They'll be playing pro. There was a couple guys made debuts in the last 2 weeks. Jacob Pelletier is one that comes to mind. I can't remember some other ones firsthand. I'm just going to look that up.
Pelletier, and he was playing with Huberdeau for a bit too.
I think he's fully earned a top 6 role pending a trade. He was up there for injury, but now he's really sticking in the top 6 because I don't think there's any major injuries right now. So
he's fast, man. That guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, Jacob Pelletier was very fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. I swear there was more than that. Yeah, maybe not. Well, they'll come to me eventually. They'll come to me here in a sec. Anyway, trade deadline, NHL trades. We had some former Q players get traded, such as Timo Meier, former Moosehead. He goes to the Devils in a huge deal. Yeah. I'm just pulling it up here so I don't get any of the details wrong. But we've got, that's the Kane one. Lots of huge trades, man. Like, especially for the Leafs, they loaded up. But I don't know, man. Some of those guys are like, I wouldn't say depth options, but they're all right. So Devils acquire Timo Meier and Timur Ibragimov, Scott Harrington, and Santeri Hadaka, and Zach Emond, who also played for Rouen Aranda, and a 5th-round pick for Fabian Zetterlund, Andreas Janssen, Shakir Mukhamadullin, and Nikita Ahokchuik, and a 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick, and a 7th-round pick. So just a huge trade. We saw one current Q guy and one former Q guy swapped. Vegas got Ivan Barbashev, former Moncton Wildcat, straight up for Zach Dean, playing with Gatineau right now. So with that trade and where St. Louis is, do you think Dean plays for the Blues next year?
I don't at all.
At all, not full time, just at all.
I can see him, yeah, again called up, but I don't see him. I don't see him playing full time. I think he's still like an exceptional player, but I think he just needs time to develop. And I think that's the problem with these like GMs, like sending these guys in right away. I think these guys are still young and they still need some still see can't even speak. Still need some improvement. But yeah, I think he should be up there for a bit. I just don't see it full time though.
We also saw Julian Gauthier, former Val-d'Or 4 and St. John Sea Dog in that Tyler Mott trade. Mikhail Abramov was a former Victoriaville Tigre, won the President Cup with them. He was in the O'Reilly deal. Sammy Blais, former Charlottetown Islander, also traded in the Tarasenko deal. Anthony Beauvillier in the Bo Horvat deal.
Blais
lots of
re-signed.
What's that?
Sammy Blais just signed a 1-year contract with the Blues. So
1 year, $1 million. Yeah. I mean, not goals big, or 1 goal this year. So, not really high risk there, but you never know. He could playing for the Blues. Like they're getting rid of everybody, right? So like it could go either way. Yeah. Let's get straight into the queue instead of blabbering on.
You mentioned talking about Q guys' debuts. Did you mention the Durando? Did you mention that?
Yes, Arno Durando, Islanders prospect, former Moosehead, also making his debut.
Flyers, yeah.
So we look at the top 10 CHL. Quebec down to number 3 after losing to Halifax. Gatineau stays at 4, which shocks me because they're on a 13 game heater.
Yeah.
Sherbrooke's up to number 5. Halifax down to number 6 after losing to Sherbrooke. So I guess that's why they went down. Q team of the week, Ivan, 8 points, 2 games. 7 points against the Sea Dogs, highlighted that. And then he was also named captain of the Eagles a couple weeks ago. Do you think that's deserving?
I think, yeah. Like with Woodworth too, like how old's the difference between Woodworth and him? I know they're 2 on.
What? I gotta double check, but I think Ivan is 20.
Yeah. But anyway, doesn't matter. No, Ivan's been really good with Cape Breton. He's obviously not the biggest goal scorer, but he's a huge playmaker, just like kind of like Drouin with Mooseheads. But yeah, no, he deserves it, I think. What do you think?
He is an overager, so I think that pretty young team. They did bring in some guys like Zach Bagar, Braden Schmidt, some of those older guys, but I think Ivan's been there from the start, so I don't really see another option.
Exactly, and good use of the leadership role as that age with the young guys. So yeah, it's well deserved, I think.
Riley Kidney, 8 points in 3 games. Feel like we talk about him every single week. A couple points against Chicoutimi, another 3 points against Chicoutimi, and then 3 points against Rouen-Noranda. Giovanni Morneau, 7 points in 3 games, couple assists versus the Sea Dogs, goal and an assist against Shawinigan, and his first career hat trick against Bathurst. And a little under the radar rookie, 44 points in 56 games this season, signed from Ontario. He's eligible to play next year, I believe. On defense, you got Tristan Leneau, another guy I feel like we talk about every week. 8 points in 3 games. Goal and an assist against Chicoutimi, goal and 3 assists against Chicoutimi, and 2 assists against Rouen-Noranda. Dylan Gill of the Huskies, 6 points, 3 games. Tied a career high with 3 assists against Blainville and a couple points against Blainville as well after. And then an assist against Gatineau. So, and then
Roland.
We also have Olivier Adam, 2-0-0, 973 save percentage, 0.5 goals against, and a shutout. 22 save shutout against Halifax, huge win for them. And then 14 saves against Val-d'Or. And I believe it was Tristan Leneau was Q player of the week. So congrats to them. Leneau was also a +8. So that's pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah. Holy.
Anyone that you think should have made the team of the week?
I haven't been really noticing, but I what you mentioned about Olivier Adam on my notes for the game recaps, he's just been all over the board. He's been having, like, as of late too, he's been terrific. Like, I know you said he's on the Q team of the week, but no, he deserves it for sure.
Oh, Marnell?
No, Olivier Adam.
Yeah, Olivier Adam's been hot. I don't know if that's like we said about Nick Herbites, if it's just good guys in front of him, but he was good with Baie-Comeau too. So I think he's just really stepping up. I think Jordan Dumais should have been on the team of the week. Well, he had 7 points in that game alone that I went to. So well, it's all good. We don't pick them. So
it's crazy.
I've got a few weekday games we can get into. So Charlottetown beating St. John 5-3. Simon Hughes, couple goals. They picked him up from Drummondville. Kiefer Lyons had his second career goal. Michael Horth, Jeremy Biakabatuka. I'm getting good at saying that name.
Yeah, it's like
we've said it so many times.
You're buzzing.
Jake Robillard, third star, 39 saves. Olivier Bordeaux, 25 saves in the loss. Noah Bridehart, Pavel Simic, and Luca Benoit scored the Sea Dogs goals. Benoit's second since coming over from Ontario about halfway through the year. It's nice to see the Sea Dogs getting goals from guys that aren't Brady Burns or Cole Burbage, because I feel like every time we mention the Sea Dogs, that's all that scores is those two. And I think that's key if they want to make the playoffs.
They need some depth for sure.
Josh Lawrence scored a couple goals. Halifax beats Moncton 4-2. That was the game after the one I went to. David Moravec and Brady Schultz scored as well. Matt Cataford, couple assists. Connor Treadle and Miles Mueller scored for the Wildcats. Very close game. Moose were up 3-0 after the first. Moncton got 2 in the second, and then Schultz kind of sealed it with 47 seconds left in the second. So Steinman went out and Filion had to come in. So he came in after the first, I believe. So very solid game after that.
Is that where you say Steinman was injured?
Steinman got injured in that game. Yeah, because that was the day after I went to Moncton. Wednesday, February 22nd, Blainville loses to Rouyn-Noranda 3-2 in overtime. Dylan Gill from Team of the Week, 2:40 into overtime, ends it. Edward Cornoyer and Daniil Borash scored the other goals. Theo Lemieux and James Swan had the Armada goals, and the Huskies with that win have now clinched a playoff spot. 1 point behind Victoriaville. So a team we're not talking about near enough. They don't have any big stars, not similar to Victoriaville. They don't have huge stars. They got Tommy Cormier, Max Pellerin, just got Freddie Brunet, but before that, their goaltending has really helped them this season. You and I said Darvo and Dag would be, good, and they have been. So, Rouyn-Noranda, keep an eye on them come playoff time.
For sure.
Thursday, February 23rd, we got the Sea Dogs beating Moncton 3-2. That's a huge game for St. John. They're clawing on to the playoffs. Vince Ellie, Noah Reinhardt, and Giuseppe Ianniello scored for the Sea Dogs. 33 saves for Venceslav Shingarov. Vinny LaBelle and Jonas Tybell scored the Wildcat goals. Victoriaville beat Quebec, one of the games of the year. I think that one was sold out in Quebec, so around 15,000 fans. Nathan Darvaux stole the show, 41 saves. Victoriaville's 3-0 was just enough. That lead, late push by Quebec, made it 3-2. Igor Gorianov, Thomas Bellegarde, and Tommy Cormier with the Tigre goals. Daniel Agostino and Justin Robida scored for the Ramparts. That was Robida's first in 6 games. So
you don't hear that a lot either.
Speaking of Robida, we say he's in that slump. Who do you think, we talk about trade acquisitions. Would you say Robida has been the biggest disappointment so far?
Well, I wouldn't say disappointment, but I know Robida is not producing, but he's still, I compared to what he was before with Valador, he's not, because look at Quebec, they're all stacked, right? He's not because Robida obviously was the best player on Valador, and there wasn't really anybody close to him. But with Quebec, there's Theo Rochette, all these guys like Bolduc, whoever. And I think he's just he notices that. It's kind of like Patty Kane with the Rangers. Like, there's so many good guys, but who knows if he's going to produce just as good, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Robita's not even playing first line, right? Like, he's not playing first line. I doubt he's playing penalty kill. Maybe I'm wrong, but he was playing everything in Val-d'Or. So more opportunity equals more minutes, which leads to more points usually.
Yeah.
So I think, I wouldn't say, I think Freddie Brunet, if I had to pick, would be the top acquisition. Just solidified the Victoriaville blue line. So I think he was the top. The Robita trade was really hyped up, and so I think people might look at it as a slight disappointment.
Yeah.
But I mean, Quebec's in first, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it seems Val-d'Or is doing fine without him because they beat Blainville 6-3. William Prevost and Nathan Brisson scored twice each. Thomas Sibolka and Nathan Barry scored the others. Prevost 3 points in the end. Alexis Brisson, Alexis Bourque, and Arnie Ravinsky scored for the Armada. I watched the game, and Charles Edward Gravel fired one into the crowd 11 seconds in and got a penalty. So it was just kind of funny to watch. You don't see that very often. Gatineau beats Chicoutimi 8-2. Second career hat trick for Cole Cormier, 30 goals on the year, 5 points on the night, which is a career high. Impressive considering he also had 2 penalties as well. So he wasn't on for as long as he usually is. Yeah. Isaac Beliveau, newest contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He scored twice. Riley Kidney, Joey Vetrano, and Tristan Leno scored as well. In this episode, get used to us saying the Gatineau Olympiques a lot. Like I said, 13 wins in a row.
They deserve it. They deserve the hype.
Looking into Friday, Charlottetown takes down Shawinigan 5-4. Islanders score 3 in the third, led by Giovanni Morneau, Sam Bonus, Kiefer Lyons, Simon Hughes, and Carl-Etienne Michel. Jacob Robillard, 35 saves, so another stellar game for him. Felix Lessert scored twice. Evan Courtois and Alexis Bonfalt scored the others. Lessert now has 46 points in 56 games. Good for second in rookie scoring. So it's looking bright in Shawinigan.
Yeah, bright future for sure.
Well, you come off a President's Cup, you don't expect much, right? So the fact he's stepping up it's good to see.
Yeah.
Moncton slips by Bathurst 2-1. Miles Mueller scored the winner 40 seconds into the third. Johan Loshing scored the other. Fun fact, Johan Loshing is born on a leap year.
There you go.
I learned that the other day, along with, I think it was Trent Ballantyne on Moncton. Donovan Arsenault had the T10 goal. Quebec 3-1 over Drummondville. Shocker. Charles Turchon scored twice. Charles Savoie scored the other. And friend of the show, Maverick Lemereau, scored for the Volt.
Beauty.
If you guys haven't checked out that interview, go check it out. It's our last episode, so tune in. Maverick's a great guy. And we actually have his teammate coming on today, Luke Woodworth. Halifax beat Victoriaville 5-2. Jordan Dumais scored twice. Jake Furlong, Alex Doucette, and Evan Boucher with the rest. Max Pellerin and Frederic Brunet scored for the Tigre. Frederic Brunet, like I said, just still leads defense in scoring, I'm pretty sure, unless Leno passed him. And again, Gatineau beats Chicoutimi 7-3. Alexis Gendron, 2 goals. Riley Kidney, Zach Dean, Olivier Nadeau, Olivier Boutin, and Tristan Leno at the other goals. Last 5 games, Alexis Gendron has 12 goals.
Jesus.
Put that through your head.
Buddy's rolling.
Maxime Massé, Alexis Morin, and Andre Loshko scored the Sags goals.
Loshko is a big one. I know we mentioned him, but he's having a hell of a year, obviously.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, we have Luke Woodworth coming on. Currently got 50 points, 56 games. He's from Nova Scotia. He said he's heard of us. He listens to some of our stuff, which we appreciate. It's always great when players listen to our stuff.
Sure.
Should we hand it over to Luke?
Let's do it.
All right, let's hand it over to Luke Woodworth of the Drummondville Voltigeurs. Currently leading the Drummondville Voltigeurs in points with 50 points in 56 games. Please welcome to the Q Review, Luke Woodworth. Also, Luke Woodworth's birthday today. Happy birthday, Luke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Got any big plans today?
Not much. A couple of the guys are coming over for dinner. So yeah, it should be pretty relaxed tonight.
Right on. Just at the Billets place.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. We heard on High Button Sports that you're considered the mayor of Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Is that true? Tell us about that.
See, I don't know if there's much truth to that.
Just well known around there.
Yeah, speak about Bridgewater a lot. I'm pretty proud of where I come from. So,
so kind of tell us about Bridgewater as a town, like for anyone that doesn't know about Bridgewater.
Yeah, it's pretty small. South Shore of Nova Scotia. There's probably 10,000 people there, and pretty tight knit community where everyone knows each other, which kind of makes it that much more special because you're not going to go anywhere without knowing the people there. So yeah, I love it. Love it in Bridgewater.
I was gonna say your summers are you're probably bombarded by people you know when you get home.
Yeah, I love the summer. Be able to go back to Bridgewater, and whether it's at the golf course, walking around, talk to people, or anywhere else, it's pretty special to go home in the summers and kind of enjoy my summers in Bridgewater.
What's your handicap?
It's probably around 10. I don't actually keep a handicap, but it's probably around 10. Mid-80s.
Mid-80s, okay. Fair enough. Did you have like a hockey idol growing up? The only guy I know from Bridgewater is like Glenn Murray. But did you have any other idols? I'm assuming you weren't old enough to see him play, really.
No, not really much Glenn. Keith Getson was always a huge one for me. Growing up, living in Bridgewater, he graduated through all the South Shore minor hockey programs and then went to the Q. So he was always someone that I looked up to a lot. Always wanted to be kind of where he was, and it's pretty special now to be able to be in the Q where I looked up at one point and saw him there. So Keith was a really big influence on me as I was growing up.
Who's your NHL team?
I'm a Winnipeg fan.
Oh, Winnipeg.
That's off the board too.
A little off the board, yeah.
They just got Niederreiter though. That's a big move.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Hard team to play against. So pretty excited to see what they do in playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. You a big seafood fan since you're from the East Coast?
No, I hate seafood.
Wow.
No way.
It's rare. It's rare, but no, I'm not a big seafood fan.
Shocking news, folks. Yeah. East Coaster Luke Woodworth does not like seafood.
That's crazy.
Okay, were you at least a big fan of the Team Canada goal song?
No, it was unreal.
Oh yeah.
Were you at any of the
incredible? Games? A lot of guys in the team didn't know what it was, and it was our team, I should say, here in Drummondville. But yeah, it was awesome. Loved every bit of it.
Were you watching any of the games like live or?
No, because I was back here.
Oh,
I flew back on Boxing Day, so I didn't get to catch any games. But a bunch of my buddies were there, and they said it was crazy.
It was electric. Yeah, I was at quite a few of them, and I don't know. It's good for the economy of Halifax for sure. And yeah. So I already asked you what Connie was like as a coach, but kind of just like alliterate what was he like? Because I'm sure he'll be listening. I want to see what you think of him.
Yeah, Connie. I loved Connie. Super laid back. Could talk to him about anything, and he was just one of the guys. He felt like a player. So yeah, he's just awesome to have as coach.
So for anyone that didn't know, Jacob's my first cousin, coached Luke in U18, former Gatineau Olympique. Can you talk about your dad's influence on your hockey career? He coached you in minor hockey, U18. Just talk about the influence he's had on your career.
Yeah, it was huge. Everything I really learned from hockey at a young age until I got here in the Q came from him primarily. I skated with him in the summer still, and then he coached me all the way growing up. A lot of little tricks and all the lessons I've learned throughout the way, a lot of them came from him, and yeah, he's been a huge influence on my hockey career.
So we're gonna rewind a little bit to 2020. You get drafted by Drummondville, 11th overall. Can you talk about the draft was actually like and what the experience was like?
Yeah, it was a little different than most people would have, just because the playoffs got shut down in midget because of COVID, and then there was no Gatorade challenge. So it was all just online Zoom interviews. So it was a little bit unconventional, and I think the teams weren't kind of versed as much as they would normally with the Gatorade challenge. It was kind of a weird year for us. But yeah, just a lot of Zoom interviews. And that was about it, really, once the season got over.
Every time you come into a league, for example, U18, you have 67 points in 34 games rookie season with South Shore. 20 points in 34 games with Drummondville in your rookie season. A lot of rookies have a hard time stepping in sometimes. How do you like normally go about it when you're joining a new team?
Yeah, you just gotta take it in stride almost. Kind of learn the system that you're coming into and try to learn it the best you can. And then see try to kind of mesh with your teammates as quickly as possible. It's a big key to it, just be able to be personal and be able to get along with guys. And if you're gonna get along off the ice, you're gonna be able to mesh on the ice as well. So I think that's just kind of a main thing when joining a new team, is just be able to be open and receptive to anything and try to take things in stride.
You guys had a lot of rookies that year because, you know, you've been loading up from all the drafts. Does that kind of make it more comfortable when you get in there?
Yeah. We had pretty much 3 first-round picks. We had the first pick of the second round. So we were able to kind of get in there as we had 5 16-year-olds that year. So it's good you're not the only young guy in the team. There's lots of guys that you can kind of lean on and bounce stuff off each other. So yeah, it was great to kind of grow up with them now, and then obviously now we're the core of the team this year. So yeah, it's pretty special to have gone through all those process with them.
Yeah, so you get undrafted last year, which we were both kind of surprised a bit, but you're eligible this year. So how does that last year like motivate you into this season?
Yeah, obviously it's tough to not get drafted. Obviously, it's something that every player in this league wants to do, get drafted. So it was a little tough last year not going drafted. But it adds a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. It makes you want to be able to prove people wrong. And then me going through the process last year, I try to help our guys that are going through it this year just as much as they can, and to kind of take that stress off them that I kind of felt last year.
Did you like expect to get drafted? Like, were you in contact with anyone? I know you were in the draft rankings, but did you expect to get drafted?
I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't want to kind of put expectations too high when I knew there's a chance I could get drafted. There's a chance I couldn't get drafted. So I didn't want to put that kind of added pressure on myself. And I knew that whatever happened, I was still going to be coming back here for the next couple of years and just focus on having good years. So that really didn't change the mindset too much, just because it was something that I knew was a possibility that wouldn't happen.
So I had some high expectations for you guys this year. I think I had you second in our rankings, I believe, in the division.
So,
yeah. You know, you got Maverick Lamoureux, Justin Cote, you, Tyler Peddle, Riley Mercer, that core you were really talking about from a few years ago. What are kind of your expectations for the team this year with playoffs coming up?
Yeah, we've had a tough year. We've gone through a lot in the organization. We've had a coaching change. Our GM has stepped down, so there's been a lot of change in our organization this year. It's made it tough, really tough at times. But I think we're a team the last couple of weeks we've been doing really good things. So I think that we're a team that can surprise in the playoffs. I feel like we're probably going to end up as an underdog seed in the playoffs. But we feel as a group that we're pretty confident we can match up against most teams. So yeah, we're kind of looking forward to proving what we can do this year. And then obviously next year is the year that we're supposed to be very good. So yeah, we're pretty excited for the next year and a half.
Yeah, we talked about this with Maverick. Like, Maverick was out, Justin was out, Riley Mercer was out for most of the year. So you guys kind of fought the injury bug quite a bit this year. So I think that played a huge factor in maybe slipping in the standings. I think you guys are going to be a big wagon during the playoffs, personally.
Yeah, we've had lots of adversity, injuries, changes in the organization. So it hasn't been easy for us, but I think that adversity is just going to help us even more when it comes down to playoff time.
Yeah, so you're named captain after the trade of Xavier Fortin. Tell me your reaction to that moment. Pretty special, eh?
Yeah, obviously it was pretty special. I'm honored to kind of be the captain of this organization. I love playing here in Drummondville. Love the city, love the team, love the organization. So I have a lot of pride in that. But at the same time, it's kind of bittersweet because lost a really good friend in that trade. Someone I grew up with the whole time I was here, and until I got traded. So it it's pretty tough, but it's part of it. It's part of junior hockey trades are going to happen. Yeah, obviously, pretty excited to be named captain.
So you said you love playing in Drummondville. Kind of tell us what it's like to play in Drummondville. I've been there before. They're very passionate hockey fans, very loud in that small building. Just kind of describe the city and like playing in that market.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's not a big market by any ways. It's not your Halifax or your Monktons of the world. Great hockey town though. The rink's always going to be filled every night. It's always going to be loud. It's always one of the loudest rinks in the league. So we love it here. We love to play here, and the organization treats us great. They've made renovations last summer for us just to feel more comfortable at the rink. And yeah, I've loved every second of it.
All those Quebec rinks have like those train horns, make it nuts.
So sick. Like I kind of like the small rinks too because it makes it feel more electric in the building, supposed to. Like,
yeah. We have a great atmosphere because the stands go straight up, so the fans are almost right on top of us.
That's it.
And it's not like it's not a small rink by age, anyways. I think it can hold 3,800, so it's still
it's still not bad.
Still one of the pretty decent sized rinks in Quebec. So yeah, it's awesome to play here, and the fans always get into it.
So you're a guy that plays in a smaller rink. I want to talk about, they had the World Juniors in Halifax, smaller rink compared to what they're used to. Do you think that's something they should do going forward with the smaller rinks?
I don't know. I feel like the smaller the rink is, the better the atmosphere is going to be, especially if it's packed. That's why I love playing here, just because even when there's only 2,000, 1,500 fans here, it's still going to be loud. Compared to where you go to Halifax at night, maybe they have 6,000 and it sounds pretty quiet. So the atmosphere wise, it's awesome, and it's always going to be loud, no matter if it's full completely or it's still we still only have like 1,500 people. It's still gonna be super loud. So yeah, I love playing in the smaller atmosphere.
Well, another thing I noticed in your guys' rink when you're on the streams, because I have like the CHL streams or whatever, it always looks full in there. And some of the Halifax games, like you said, they only get 6,000 people. It looks empty.
It looks dead. Looks like
yeah, for sure. The upper bowl is always filled. So yeah, it's always pretty loud here, which is nice.
We talked about you guys loading up in the last few drafts. What do you think your contending window is?
Next 2 years. Starts with this year. I feel like we can make big steps in the playoffs this year, and kind of prove to ourselves that we're able to play when it comes to playoff time. And then the next 2 years after it, it's our years. It's been the plan since I was 16-year-old, since I was drafted here to go for it when I'm 19 and 20 years old. So yeah, pretty excited for the next 2 years.
I got a question about, are you the DJ in the locker room? Or are you cranking Heave Away before games?
No, it switches a little bit. Drew Elliott's our game DJ.
Okay.
Drew Elliott does it for games. I hop on a little bit during practices, just get the country music going.
You're a big country guy?
Oh yeah, big country guy.
Not so rap.
Excuse me?
Do you like rap at all, or just?
I don't mind it, but I don't really stay up to date with like the current rap or anything like that. So I let Drew kind of handle that for games.
There.
We asked this is Zach LaRue. Who are your top 5 country artists?
Ooh, Morgan Wallen would be up there. Luke Bryan would be up there. Fuller Georgia Line would be up there.
There you go.
What would some others be?
Cameraman Steve with the head nod of approval for Florida Georgia Line.
What would the others be? 2 others. Dustin Lynch would be up there.
Okay.
He was electric at Cavi.
And probably like Zach Bryan's been good recently.
Yeah,
A couple good ones. Yeah, probably go with them to round it out.
If you could ever go to a Dustin Lynch concert, I'd highly recommend it. He puts on a great show.
That does sound electric.
Yeah. I want to know, what's your favorite place to play in the Q?
Halifax. Well, Halifax is always pretty special. Be able to come home and play in front of friends and family is always special, especially since it's only once a year. Just makes it that much more sweet. Sweet when you come to the Maritimes, and then playing your team that you kind of grew up watching your whole childhood's pretty special. So yeah, definitely Halifax.
Do you have a road trip that you kind of dread when you look at the calendar?
You're like, oh shit.
There's a couple. The Bay Kamoshikudimi one's always tough. Just you gotta go on a ferry. There's hours that you go without service, which kind of blows.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Same thing with Rouen Val d'Or. It's a long.
That's the other one I was gonna guess.
Same kind of thing. Service goes in and out. Those are two of the longer trips. Quebec guys probably say the maritime trips just because it's longer.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, it's always special going back to the maritime, so I can't complain with that.
You've been in the league for a little bit now. Who's kind of a player that's really impressed you over your career? Like probably the best player you've ever played against.
Best player will be last year playing against Matt Bork, and Borgo was always tough. They would always seem to have 4 or 5 points on us a game. Sam Poulin in Val d'Or my first year. Jordan Spence was unreal in Val d'Or my first year. And then this year, probably Kidney. Like playing against Kidney is always tough. He sees everything. And I think he has 4 points against us every time we play him. So,
who's a goalie you hate playing against?
It's one you can't quite crack.
Frankie LePena is a tough one, just because I played with him. He played in Drummondville my first year and a half. So when we played him in Gatineau, we played him in Charlottetown. He was pretty good against us. That's even more frustrating because I know Frank, and Frank's a great guy. So yeah, I had to go with him.
There you go.
All right. Well, can you give us we're gonna wrap up here, but can you give us kind of your probably top memory so far playing in the Q?
Scoring at Halifax was pretty special. Just because there's so many people there that I grew up with, family members over there, and be able to score in Halifax, it was really special and something that I'll always remember.
We loved your high button mic'd up. That
was hilarious.
I watched that I watched it before we did this. Actually, I was like,
that was fun.
Chirping Buddy about his fantasy football and
Yeah,
taking McKinnon, or who did he take? He took McKinnon or someone over.
Yeah, Steve Hartley, because he coached McKinnon in Halifax.
Yeah.
So he took him over, I think it was like McDavid or something like that.
Oh my God, what's he think?
It's a hot take, but all right, Luke, enjoy the rest of your birthday. Thanks for coming on, and we hope to talk to you soon. Maybe we'll do this again.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me.
Great. That was Luke Woodworth, Drummondville Voltigeurs. All right, and that was Luke Woodworth, Drummondville Voltigeur. Great guy, very humble. What do you think of Luke?
Yeah, like you said, humble guy for sure. He's just like, he is a captain kind of player, just down to earth even for his age. Yeah, proud Nova Scotian, that's for sure. And yeah, he's a terrific guy. So thanks, Luke, for coming on.
Very proud of where he's from. That's always a very, never forget where you come from. Smaller town, Bridgewater, like you said, only like 10,000 people.
Exactly.
So, you had something we were talking about in the break.
The Derick Brassard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Derick Brassard, we got to congratulate him. Played for all these NHL teams, at least 12. And yeah, he owned Gatineau Olympique. So that's why we're shouting out Derick. So congrats to you.
Yeah. Also played for Drummondville for 4 seasons. If you look at his career stats, 218 points. 218 points in 151 games. Former 6th overall pick of Columbus back in 2006. Like Theo said, franchise owner of the Olympique 2020-2021. Because we were confused why Gatineau was shouting them out, and then I did some research, and that would be why.
There you go. There you go.
Oh yeah, he played for at least 12 teams.
At least there, yeah, he played. Yeah, he was all over.
I'm trying to count them, and I can't keep track because they're just like, he played for Ottawa 5 years ago, and now he's playing for Ottawa now.
Philadelphia, Arizona, Ottawa, Columbus, Colorado.
10 teams.
10? Okay.
Over 16
Rangers,
years.
Columbus, Islanders. Jesus Christ.
But still a great player. Like, it's a guy that everyone picks up for their playoff runs. just because of that leadership, face-off ability. Just that locker room presence. So congrats to Derick, 1,000 games.
Show.
You got some weekend games or what?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So Saturday, February 25th, Val-d'Or defeats Drummondville 6-4. First star was William Profus from Val-d'Or, got himself a hat trick. He's now at 62 points so far this season. Sam Oliver had second star with 1 goal, 1 assist from Drummondville. And Xavier Fortin, also from Drummondville, had 1 goal, 1 assist. I was watching these highlights just back and forth each way. Like, both these teams are super fast, even though both of them aren't doing the best. But Val-d'Or's creeping up. But yeah, these two teams, their future's bright for sure. And Sherbrooke defeats Baie-Comeau 5-1, absolute beating. Luke Coughlin from Rimouski had himself 2 assists. Alexander got it. Oh, this butcher of a last name, I don't know. Gadio, you might know, Chris.
Gadio, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah. From Rimouski had 1 goal, 1 assist. He has 28 points so far this season. Third star was the lone goal from Baie-Comeau was Isaac Dufort, also having a terrific year.
Just wanted to interrupt. You were talking about Rimouski. Last week, it's called the Colisée Financière Sun Life Arena. That's where the Rimouski Oceanic play. It was closed indefinitely. So the game on March 1st between Moncton and Rimouski, that was postponed. And it was just announced that the game against Gatineau on Friday is also not happening.
So what's happening in the future? What are they doing?
I don't know. It just said closed indefinitely. There wasn't too much other than that. So still haven't announced the game Saturday, what's happening yet. So
there you go.
Looks like I don't have to write another Gatineau story.
So. No more Gatineau stories.
Not for tomorrow.
So Rouen defeats Armada 5-4. First star was Tristan Allard from Rouen, had 2 goals this night. He's at 64 points this season. And second star was Alex Blay, has 11 points this season, but he got on the board with one this game. Dylan Gill, third star, had himself an apple of a night with 3 assists. Sherbrooke defeats Halifax 3-0. As we were mentioning before, Olivier Adam, with his 4th shutout this season, saved 28 of 28 shots for Sherbrooke. Cole Hawkins, Joshua, and Jacob Melanson all score for the Phoenix. And Matthias Rousseau gets the 3rd star with stopping 35-37 shots. Surprised he didn't get pulled. Not surprised, but he kind of kept them in it this game for sure. Even though
that game. That game. So the Palais de Sport Leopold Drolet, the rink that Sherbrooke plays in, they hold 3,646 people. Yeah. And there was 4,005 at that game.
Jesus.
So it was bumping.
Yeah. Well, two great teams. Like, what else is they were doing in Sherbrooke than going to that game? That's for sure. So T10 defeats Shawinigan 5-4 in a shootout. This was all. I saw the highlights for this one. This one's crazy. T10 were up 3-0 thanks to Donovan Arsenault scoring 2 in front of the pod. Joey Henneberry getting 1. And then Shawinigan comes back 3-3. Then Joey Henneberry gets another to make it 4-3. Then Stefan Huard Jr., that's another person that's been stepping up for Shawinigan, even though from Halifax to Shawinigan, he's been stepping up huge. OT doesn't solve anything, so it goes to a shootout, and then Bobby Orr for the T10 wins it. So Sunday, the 26th, Halifax defeats Quebec 4-3. Moose were up 4-0. Thanks to Antilio Biasca, who got 2, Josh Lawrence and Evan Bouchard. Then Quebec gets 3 unanswered, but they couldn't get the job done. For this game, speaking of Matthias Rousseau, this guy stepped up huge, even though he kind of he had its. I was watching the highlights, sprawling save. I think it was Rochette's shot. He just came out of nowhere with a scorpion kick, and they kind of sealed the deal there. And then Gatineau defeats Rouen 6-1. Alix General gets a hat trick. Sam Savoie and Riley Kidney and Marcel get the other 3 goals. And lone goal for Rouen was Daniel Borash. Sherbrooke defeats Valador 10-1. Not naming everybody here, but funny thing is, guess you wouldn't believe it. Guess who didn't get on the board this game?
Joshua.
Yeah, there you go. And then last game, Chicoutimi defeats Rimouski 4-0. Oh, you were bugging out there. You're all good. Yeah, that was everything.
Cool. Yeah, so that's game recaps.
10-1 though, that's crazy. Like, you don't see that in the queue a whole bunch.
No, unless it's Halifax and Moncton. But,
Exactly.
We
Wildcats podcast, you aren't watching that.
We didn't bring this up, but the Halifax Mooseheads have sold after 20 years of Bobby Smith. They sold it to an American named Sam Simon, owns Atlas Oil and other businesses. First sports franchise that they've owned. When I went to the game against Moncton, someone told me that rumor was that if Mooseheads won the Memorial Cup in 2019, they would have sold then. However, that didn't happen. So they had a couple crap years, and that long point streak they had, good time to sell was right now. So Bobby sold it to Sam Simon. What do you think of the move?
I don't know. It's a risky one because this guy's not even from here, for one. So it's kind of like he's not with the team. I know he's only an owner, so it doesn't really mean that much. But yeah, it's a tough one for sure. Because you don't know anything about this guy. He doesn't have to do anything with hockey. He has no idea. He tried to buy Ottawa Senators, didn't he?
Yeah,
One time?
20 years ago, almost bought the Pistons of the NBA.
Yeah, so we don't. It's a lot of unknown, but you never know. We'll see. We'll see.
And the weird thing is they never had any previous experience with junior hockey in Michigan. What are the teams in Michigan? Flint Firebirds.
Yeah. Just
which are relatively new.
College hockey is the big one.
Yeah, so I don't know how much they know. Have you ever seen that movie about the Danbury Trashers?
Oh, on Netflix?
Yeah,
Like
where the guy
the
guy essentially buys a hocky team and gives it to his kid.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people on Twitter were sending that out just because, well, his son was there, and I heard it was like an awkward press conference.
That's fun.
They didn't disclose the price. They actually asked Sam Simon what the price was, and he goes, no. That's all he had to say. Bobby Smith's still going to be part of the Mooseheads, though, helping out, I guess.
That's good, though.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Bobby Smith, I don't think, was around very often either. So I don't know how much of a difference this is going to be. But Bobby Smith was like a lot more than just the owner of the team, right? Like when Jonathan Drouin was into some bad stuff, he took him into his house. No Billets took him. So Bobby Smith, he took him under his wing. And so.
Yeah. No, he seems like a good guy, but you don't know anything about like the ticket prices now. Like that could change, wouldn't it? Or no?
Someone told me that they were going to change the name, and I said that is probably the dumbest thing you could ever do.
Yeah, that's what I thought for sure too. Because like people were like going around on Twitter saying people are going to Mooseheads are changing. And I'm like, what? Why?
And I'll bring up the Wildcast podcast again because they said this as well. But when they were hyping up the news, like people were like, "Oh God, are they moving? Or are they getting a new rink? Or they?"
Yeah.
But I don't know. Change of ownership isn't that important to us.
Yeah.
As hockey fans, I mean, it is because like if they make some drastic changes.
Yeah.
But just naming the owner isn't a huge thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, Sam Simon's had a business background for like 40 years. I'm just reading his like history in business, and Atlas Oil started in the mid 80s. They do about few $1 billion in sales, 700 employees. So I think he'll be fine. Just the hockey knowledge, I don't know if it's all there.
Yeah.
I think that's what the kid's there for.
Yeah.
I can't remember his son's name, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Halifax definitely does need a new rink, but it's hard because that's not a building you can just knock down because it's right in the middle of town.
It's literally right now. Why would you say they need a new rink?
Well, they've been in there since the start, since like the mid 90s, right? Like you look at Moncton has a new rink. You know what I mean? So like it, or at least some huge renos.
Yeah,
They need some big time renos.
he probably has the money for that. Seems it.
Well, we'll see. I don't think much is going to change, at least not right now. I don't think a new rink is in the works for 5-10 years, maybe. But we'll see. Also, I don't want to forget these again because I did last month.
Yeah.
The QMJHL Players of the Month are here. And it feels weird because Jordan Dumais is not on here, as he normally is. But Riley Kidney, pretty deservable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Olympics, they're undefeated pretty well in February.
Yeah.
24 points in 10 games for Riley Kidney. Jordan Dumais does get honorable mention. David Spacek of Sherbrooke, 14 points in 10 games, defenseman of the month, with Tristan Leno getting honorable mention. Frankie LaPena of Gatineau, 7-0-0, 169 goals against, 944 save percentage in the month of February. And then Olivier Adam got the honorable mention. Rookie of the month, Matthias Malofsky, 13 points in 10 games for Baie-Comeau. And then Jacob Steinman got the honorable mention. It was actually almost a full Gatineau team of the month because Tristan Leno got honorable mention. So, yeah, pretty close.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Should we bring up our QMJHL standings?
Let's do it.
I'm just curious where both of us were at.
I kind of forget mine, to be honest.
Oh, I've got them here, so don't worry.
You got the receipts.
So first we've got the West Division. If I pull those up. So my picks were Gatineau, Rouen, Noranda, Blainville, Val-d'Or were my 4.
Yeah.
And then your 4 were Gatineau, Blainville, Rouen, Noranda, Val-d'Or.
Oof.
So essentially we just had them switched.
Yeah.
Right now you're looking at Gatineau, Rouen, Noranda, Val-d'Or, Blainville. But Blainville and Val-d'Or are tied in points with 48.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking about Blainville. I was mistaken.
Well, Josh Lawrence. Lawrence was supposed to be there. Virtue. That's his name, right? The defenseman, the Habs prospect.
Yeah.
Braden Virtue. And Pat Gay was supposed to be there as well. So I think we were anticipating that. And, trades can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So that's the West. So we're not that far off.
No.
Or at least I'm not that far off. I think Rouen Noranda is staying in second. Mm-hmm. They are 19 points up.
Yeah.
Or 29 points. Yeah, 29 points.
That
was the West. We'll go to the Maritimes next. Pull up the Maritimes division. So Maritimes right now, your picks were Halifax, Bathurst, St. John, Charlottetown, Moncton, Cape Breton. I had Halifax, Bathurst, Moncton, St. John, Charlottetown, Cape Breton. Both of us didn't do so hot here. Mooseheads, Moncton, Charlottetown, Cape Breton, St. John, and Bathurst. So both of us were pretty far off.
Yeah.
Neither of us we only had Halifax in the right spot.
I did not think Bathurst was going to be that far off.
Well, yeah, I only had Bathurst higher because I thought, if they got hot, you're not trading Kidney or Melanson.
Yeah.
Jan Bednar was out most of the year. Like, he's still out. So I think we anticipated him playing a full season. So that hurts.
Yeah.
East and Central, we both had the same picks.
Yeah.
So I'll pull those up. East Division, we had Quebec, Baie-Comeau, Rimouski, and Chicoutimi. Sherbrooke, nope, that's wrong. That's the wrong one. Quebec, Rimouski, Chicoutimi, Baie-Comeau. So we only had Quebec right.
Yeah.
And if you go to the Central is Sherbrooke. We had Sherbrooke, Drummondville, Victoriaville, and Shawinigan.
Oof.
Sherbrooke, Victoriaville, Shawinigan, Drummondville.
Yeah.
So tough look. It's all, hey, that's why we do it. It's just for fun. No,
that's why it's predictions. That's why we're predicting.
I would like to see your guys' predictions at home. Point leaders, Jordan Dumais, pretty well running away. 109 as opposed to Zach Bolduc, 93. Alex Doucette leading Dumais by 1 goal with 45. Kidney tied with Dumais for 65 assists. Mathis Rousseau getting the best of Will Rousseau, 29 wins. Actually, that game between Quebec and Halifax was for the goalie wins leader. Olivier Adam, 5 shutouts, leads the league. Save percentage, Nathan Darvaux, 929. And goals against average goes to William Rousseau,
there you go,
213. And for anyone that cares about penalty minutes, Anthony Hamill leads with 111.
Beauty.
I'm actually curious on the rookie scorers. Just because I feel like rookies are someone we don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
One guy that really impressed me when I was watching Moncton was Preston Lounsbury. He's got 28 points in 56 games, but he's really moved into that top 6 role. I didn't think much of him when I went, but like he stood out every time he touched the ice. He did score in that game, I'm pretty sure. Maxim Massey leads with a point per game, 56 and 56. Felix Lacerte, we were talking about, 46 in 56 games, 44 in 49 games for Matthias Milovsky, and Cole Burbage, 42 points in 58 games.
There you go.
There's some high draft picks that are low on this list, such as Thomas DeRousseau. He's having a rough year. Nathan Brisson, I thought he was going to pop off. He hasn't done a ton. Yeah, he went pretty high in the draft, 17th overall. Yeah, so a bit surprising. Bill Zonin, 34 points. He's kind of slipped, actually.
Yeah, and I had him high too. I had high predictions about him, but.
And Jacob Melanson now has the highest point streak of the Q season, 21 game point streak, 36 points in that span.
There you go.
And his former teammate Riley Kidney currently has one at 17 games, 46 points in 17 games in that span.
That's ridiculous.
Very, very impressive stuff. Right. Anything you want to add on? Anything?
That's it, man. We covered everything.
I think so. All right. Once again, Chris Tracy, Theo Iatru, Q Review brought to you by Barely's House of Blues and Ribs, downtown Halifax. Your one-stop shop for everything Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and the unofficial podcast of the QMJHL, brought to you by our friends at Barely's House of Blues and Ribs. Thank you guys for listening. Follow our socials, QReview_pod, and we will see you guys next week.